how to run better meetings, have more impactful client conversations, and improve how you plan a project with the WOOP technique. So, do you sometimes struggle with meetings that just seem to have a lot of talk, but not a lot of value? I probably didn't need to ask that, as meetings in the workplace are often low on value, but high on time for so many. And as a project manager or anyone expected to run or facilitate a meeting, whether it's a one-to-one or in a group, you know they often can go off on tangents. It's hard to get the outcome that you're looking to achieve. And it makes the meeting even harder to facilitate if you're super busy and you just don't have time to prepare. So, a technique you can use to help you prepare for important meetings, because it doesn't need lots of time, such as, again, a one-to-one or group, big meeting, it doesn't make any difference, is called WOOP. So, WOOP stands for wish, outcome, obstacles, and plan. And the good thing about WOOP is you can implement it in just a few minutes if you're stretched for time, because you'll still see that positive impact. Or you can use it to plan a meeting approach in more detail. It both works. Lots of time, great. Not enough time, just a few minutes for the meeting. You just quickly get yourself in the right mindset, a few quick notes using the WOOP technique, and you'll see a much, much bigger impact in terms of what you get out of the meeting and how you run it. So, to implement WOOP for a meeting, you start with the ideal result you want for this meeting, which is the wish. For example, the wish could be, I want to leave this meeting feeling like I've performed well and I'm excited about what's to come. Then you have the outcome, which can also be described as the benefit. So, what will be the outcome or the benefit of this meeting by achieving your wish? Yeah. For example, the client has agreed to approve that additional budget you need for the project, or you now have the solution to the problem that you went into the meeting with, or you have an agreed set of next steps for a critical new phase of work with you're aligned with everyone in that meeting. Next, you have the obstacles. So these are what could stop you from achieving your wish or the outcome. Now, this is good practice to do for any meeting. So if you're going to do one thing in these steps, do this one, because the obstacles can just be any number of things that can derail a meeting. So what objections could the client have to what we're proposing? It could really stop you in your tracks. Think about what they might be. Or do you have enough data to present your case for change to your project stakeholders? Or what if I'm asked a question I don't know the answer to? And that's saying, start to think about the types of questions that you might be asked. Or you might be going in with your boss. And what if she's late and you're there with a client? Now, what are you going to do? How are you going to fill the time? Can you actually just get started? So think about lots of different scenarios. And then when used in project management, the plan stage can be two things, or two things. It doesn't have to be, it could be two, could be one. But the first part is, what are the steps you're going to go through in the meeting? So this could be the classic agenda, or it could be three things you need to deliver or communicate during the meeting. Like just three really key pieces of information you want to communicate. And the other part of plan that you could do is the next steps. So often next steps are left to the end of the meeting to be worked out, but there are always obvious next steps you can create beforehand. One of those could be, when are you going to actually send the meeting notes? So knowing beforehand precisely when you're going to do this, you come across as confident and organized when you present it, versus trying to work out on the spot and thinking about everything else you've got going on outside the meeting. Often the classic response is, we'll get a response back to you, next steps in the next 24 hours, or I'll follow up on this later today for you. But if you go, I'll send this at 3 o'clock, no later, because you've looked at your diary, you know what conversations you need to have afterwards, and it's already planned. Really efficient, comes across really, really well in front of those that you're attending the meeting with. And also having pre-prepared plans / next steps also helps you think more about what those meeting obstacles might be, during the meeting itself. Because then you can just really focus in on facilitating the meeting and the conversation and the content of the meeting, rather than the organization, and you're always trying to think ahead. So the WOOP technique can be used for all sorts of scenarios as a project manager, but it's not just limited to meetings. It can help facilitate planning a project, creating your goals, what you need to do next in your career, how to have a difficult conversation with a boss, a work colleague, a partner, your kids. It could be absolutely anything. It's so simple. It can be applied to nearly any scenario, I would say. But try WOOP today, but keep it simple, because the more you use it, the quicker and easier it becomes. So practice it, practice it, practice it, all the different scenarios, and you'll start to see real value coming back.